everybody, it's Jesse. Great to see you again today. In honor of National Novel Writing Month, I thought I would share a few brief thoughts about how to write a book. Now, this is just a real brief overview on how to write a book. I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty details. Of course, the most important thing to remember as you sit down to write your book is that sitting down to write your book is the most important part of writing your book. You can think about it for years and years and never get the book written. In order to write a book, you've got to actually take the time to write a book. So that's why challenges like NaNoWriMo are so popular. It's the National Novel Writing Month, and it encourages people to spend a little bit of time every single day working on their novel, because it's by sitting down and spending time writing your book that you get the book written. Just thinking about it is not going to get the book written. Now, there are some shortcuts available if they work for you. A lot of people like to use dictation software because it's faster to talk into a microphone than it is to type the words out, especially if you're not a very fast typist. Now, that said, dictation software is sometimes a bit glitchy. It doesn't get your words right, and even if the dictation software does get your words right, it often requires a lot of extra editing. So typing is generally more effective. There are two reasons that you might want to write a book. You might want to write a book for self-expression, or you might want to write a book to earn some revenue as an author. Now, if you want to write a book for self-expression, then it doesn't really matter what the statistics and numbers say. You're going to write the sort of book that you feel like writing, and nobody's going to tell you otherwise. But if you're interested in trying to make some money as an author, then before you sit down to write a book, you're probably going to spend a little bit of time thinking about what kind of book you want to write. In general, industry statistics indicate that nonfiction books, especially self-help books, tend to be the top sellers most years. Assuming you want to write fiction, the most profitable genre of fiction is going to be romance and erotica. Nothing even comes close to romance and erotica. After romance and erotica, historical fiction and mystery are the top-selling genres of fiction. Then after that comes a jumble of all the other types of general fiction, young adult fiction, fantasy, adventure, science fiction, horror, and all the rest. Once you've chosen what type of book you want to write, it's time to figure out how you're going to write it. Now, there are two basic methods for writing a book. There's planner or pantser. If you're a planner, then you make a plan before you ever begin writing your book. You've got an outline, you've got a character development chart, you've got storyboards, and you may have created a completely separate Pinterest account for every single one of your characters. If you're a pantser, you're the complete opposite. You don't know who your characters are going to be until you start writing. You just sit down, you start writing. Whatever comes out of your mind on the spur of the moment is what makes its way into the story. Pantser obviously refers to flying by the seat of your pants. Each one comes with its own cost. If you're a planner, you have to spend a lot of time planning up front. If you're a pantser, you're gonna have to spend extra time editing afterwards. You can't expect to pants a book and then have it be perfect on the first draft. If you're a pantser, you're gonna have more editing time required than if you're a planner. But also keep in mind, no matter what method you end up taking, it's going to require a lot of editing, so don't be disappointed when that turns out to be the case. There is a hybrid model of writing called plantser. That's when you plan a little bit and then you pants the rest of it. You want to grab the reader's interest early on and hold the reader's interest throughout the course of the book, even if it's a very long book. Of course, this is much easier said than done, and we have all read books that failed to keep our interest through to the very end. Many of us have put such books down. It's essential to write in such a way that it's going to capture and keep the attention of your reading audience. In addition to snappy sequences of scenes and witty dialogue, you're also going to want to have in the larger picture a story arc and character development. Your characters usually are going to have some sort of insight, usually past the midway point, often near the end of the book, and the character development is going to drive the story arc in most cases. And the story arc is going to build to a peak and then usually taper off slightly as all the loose ends get tied up at the end. One common story arc is the hero's journey, famously described by Joseph Campbell. We see the hero depart on a quest, and the hero must go through all these types of adventures. They usually meet some sort of mentor character, seem to succeed, and then they have some trouble. Before the story is over, they descend into the pits of hell, and then they triumph at last over adversity and bring back what they have learned to the people of their homeland. Obviously, there are many variations on this theme, but it is a popular story arc and one that you can certainly adapt for your own purposes.
You might choose to start writing at the beginning of the story and just keep writing clear through to the end of the story, or you might start in the middle and then fill in bits as necessary until you have constructed the entire story. Keep in mind, as you go through this process, your book doesn't have to begin at the beginning of the story. The earlier bits of the story can be told through flashbacks, or sometimes they can be omitted entirely, or if it's some sort of a mystery, your characters can figure out what happened earlier as part of the process of the story. So the book doesn't have to begin with the first stages of the story. You can skip a lot of what happens early on and then fill the reader in with whatever details they need to know as the book progresses. So write what inspires you, write what you're interested in, write what you want to read, and write something that you enjoy. The more you enjoy it, the more time you're going to spend working on it. If you don't enjoy it, then your reader's not going to enjoy it either. You have to enjoy the process of writing. If you love writing this book, the reader's going to feel that, and they will love reading the book too. So that is essential. Finally, and I cannot overstate the importance of editing. You're probably going to spend at least as much time editing this book as you spent writing it. You might hire a professional editor if you have the money to hire a professional editor. You're still going to take a lot of time editing the book, and they are going to spend almost as much time editing the book as you spent writing it. Editing is a very time-consuming process. Once the book is done and it's completely edited, don't forget about the marketing. Marketing your book, if you're going to market it well, unlike the way I've marketed my books thus far, if you're going to market your book well, it's also going to take probably half as much time as you spent actually writing the book. So if you put in, say, 800 hours writing your book, then you're going to need to spend 400 hours marketing that book, at least. Possibly quite a bit more. So think of it in those terms. Marketing your book is going to take a lot of time. Even if you have money to throw at it, which most writers don't, even if you do have money to throw at advertising, it's still going to take a lot of time. So don't forget about the editing. Don't forget about the marketing. They are essential parts of writing your book. I can't wait to see what kind of book you write. Best of luck. Have fun with that. I look forward to it, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.